Unbelievable. Can this be true? 2023 Rccg pastor calls for sack of colleague who campaigned for Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Hello, my wonderful people. We all know that the professor, the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is also a redeemed member and pastor. Yes, he's seeking to contest for the presidency to take over from the president, to which administration he is the vice president. Constitutionally speaking, it is okay for him to contest. Yesterday, we brought you up to speed that a particular pastor of the same church was on the news, and he was talking about how Osinbajo is one of the most qualified persons, and Nigerians should do well to pick him, as against other goddess who may be contesting for the same position. Let's get all the details. 2023, Rccg pastor calls for sack of colleague who campaigned for Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Youth pastor with the Rccg, Redeemed Christian Church of God, Dr. Chooks, has called on the church to sack the head of politics and governance of the church, Pastor Timothy, over a comment he made about the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The statement, currently making rounds and credited to Pastor Timothy, had equally quaked the ranks with some condemning it and others appreciating the word. The pastor had, in his said statement, said that only Osinbajo can change the narrative of Nigerian governance today. However, condemning what is clearly a one-sided statement by Pastor Timothy, the youth leader, alongside others, called for his sack. In a statement to newsmen, Pastor Chooks said the Rccg is a congregation of all parties and such cannot support a single party. The statement reads thus: I was saddened when my attention was drawn to the statement credited to the head of publicity and governance of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Timothy. This act reminds me of the tragedy promoted by many of my colleagues in the Redeemed Christian Church of God who used the Rccg altar to promote Buhari as the only savior of Nigeria, because Osinbajo was also a redeemed pastor who was his running mate at that time. Against all admonisters by our father, the Rccg, those pastors chose to ignore an express order and promoted Buhari Osinbajo using the Rccg platform in 2019. And the results are what we see today. Why I have nothing personal against Osinbajo and those campaigning for him. Our father, the Rccg General Overseer, has made it clear to everyone that the church is a congregation of all parties and all are children of God. If truly, said Pastor Timothy, voiced such one-sided opinion, then he should be ashamed of himself and many people who insulted Lekki for calling such people goats should apologize to him, because this man's action has not only ridiculed the mission but also the reputation of our Father in the Lord. As one of those who face is trying to deface the Rccg when consigns to Nigeria labeled the newly political and governance directory as Osinbajo campaign arm of the church, I felt I owe it a duty as an ordained minister and someone who has spent close to 3 decades working to help achieve the church mission objective to speak out. How can a redeemed pastor saddled with the responsibility of promoting all instead insist on a public forum for just only one child of God can change the narrative of governance in Nigeria? I personally don't think that is true. This is someone who says he wants to consolidate Buhari's legacy, a legacy characterized by banditry, kidnapping, massive killings, corruption, stealing, diversion of crude oil, unfulfilled promises, borrowing that are now thrown at us into a state of bankruptcy as a nation. Is that what we want to continue and consolidate on? So you can understand the perspective from which this youth pastor is coming from. Honestly, I get you, pastor. I get you totally, completely, and truly. I get you. Yes, I totally get you because this was how in 2015. You were very correct. 2015, a lot of persons went on. Okay, they went on and they began to say Osinbajo, Osinbajo, Buhari, Osinbajo, Buhari. Today, and guess what? Many of the South was swayed because of that campaign, because for the fact that Osinbajo was associated with Buhari, gave many people assurance that this was the team, this was the people to work with. That Osinbajo, being a pastor of the same church, yes, Osinbajo being a pastor of the same church, even though he's now, working with Buhari, they both will be able to form a formidable team that could potentially change the course of what is going on in Nigeria. Therefore, Nigerians can trust the alliance of both Osinbajo and Buhari. Many of us fell for it. Many of us. Today, if not all, because I know that some people have benefited greatly from this administration. Some people, the chaos have enriched them in no small way. Some people are happy that Buhari ever came into governance. So, if not all, that's why I said if not all, I can put it to you, 90% of Nigerians regret the actions they took back in 2015. Is it with the banditry, collapse of the nation, the rail they said they were doing, and the debt that Buhari has put this nation in, to mention but a few, Nigerians are regretting. Is it the educational system, more crumbled than crumble? So what exactly is working? It all started, okay? Because Buhari has tried, contesting previously before this time. How many times he has tried, but to no avail. What happened? Nigerians began to build trust when they saw a man, in quote and unquote, a pastor of one of their own. Because there's this thing about human affiliation. If you travel abroad, where everybody, for instance, you're in China and you hear somebody speaking your language, in Nigeria, you would normally not talk to that person. But as soon as you hear that person in China, there is the group of association. You want to quickly, you will speak the language if you can, or you say, I am from so, and before you know it, you begin to form that relationship. That's how it is. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. God bless. Bye for now.